This is the Cliff Yates Show. Personal growth, motivation, inspiration, and philosophies for a great life.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Cliff Yates Show. As always, you already know you're in the right place. Once again, I have a great guest. We met when I was a guest on his show. We clicked. I don't know if it's because he's a back east guy like I am, but for some reason, hey, we love shooting the breeze together, and I can count us now as friends. This guy's an entrepreneur. He's got a couple jobs he does. He gets it done. He just started, he's got a great podcast, and like he says, you know what? He didn't know all the answers, but he got out, and as I always say, just start where you're at, and you'll get better and better as you keep doing it. But don't hesitate. It's never going to be a perfect situation. Let me bring him on. Rich Dow, thanks for joining me on the show, brother.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you're in Pennsylvania. How do you like Pennsylvania?
It's a place to live.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy the four seasons, but now as I'm getting older, I've realized that winter lasts about as long as a high school relationship.
Doesn't it? Oh my God, it's like, do you get that? My mom gets that seasonal effect disorder, like you've been so overcast for 4 weeks and you start to get a little down.
Oh, you've never been out this way, buddy. I've always kind of dubbed this place as East Coast Seattle.
Yeah.
Everyone here, even the black folks are white out here. There's no sun. We're all calcium deficient. It's
no doubt.
It's just a weird, cloudy place, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's part of our temperament. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Rochester, New York, so I'm going back there next week, so I know what you're
nice.
speaking of. Yeah, and so when I went to Pennsylvania, the first time I went to a bodybuilding contest in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then I went to York, Pennsylvania, where they make the York barbells and shit. So I actually visited those two places, and I went to Hershey to the chocolate factory. Is that still there?
I've been to Hershey when I was a younger kid. Hershey Park, and I just thought it was the raddest things. I'm walking around, I'm like, that's a giant Reese cup.
I loved it too. It was.
And now I have diabetes, and I feel like I'm blaming Hershey Park for that.
Oh my God, no, I think you're probably right. Yeah. Oh my God. So how long you're a diabetic, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was too. He became diabetic at 57. I actually got him a book by Dr. Bernstein. It was a guy, and I don't know. My dad tells me it saved his life because he became he became an expert in his sugar levels, and he actually stopped drinking. He never drank again after he really controlled his diet. He could tell when his stomach emptied. He was in the hospital on something unrelated, and he knew when they came in. He goes, "Hey, you can't give me that. You're going to send me into diabetic shock." He knew exactly, how many cc's would bring him down to what level. Are you pretty good at managing?
How do you feel about lying?
Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary.
So luckily the wife is a nurse.
Great.
I am okay-ish, right? So I have the little
the CG constant glucose monitor. Yeah, those are great.
That little deal. I just started mealtime insulin as well because I'm taking the shot daily.
Yeah.
So I will say anyone that has it that's listening, look, this thing will keep you honest. It's that Freestyle Libre deal, and what's actually pretty cool about it, you can actually see how many times you actually check it, which is pretty wild to me. Set up alarms, all that stuff. It keeps you honest, right? So it gives you, I wouldn't say freedom, but it's more if you don't necessarily have that internal willpower, you have some things saying, hey, dude, what are you doing? Don't put that in your face hole. So,
yeah, my cousin has it. So he I don't know if he holds his phone up to it or it's just connected to his phone. And so
yeah. So you do it when you first activate it, and then it's an app. And you just
and so he kind of knows, he knows if he's on the upswing, and he loves it. He's he's lost about 40 pounds, and he's kept it off for a couple of years. He's doing really well.
Well, here's what's crazy. I am 5'10", 9 or 10, depending if I'm wearing heels. About $1.90. I am
okay.
not a diet. I'm not a diabetic built person.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very strange. When I first got the whole diagnosis, I through my job I have this doctor on demand thing, and I'm like, yeah, man, look, having trouble sleeping. I'm getting these little tingles in my feet, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels like I'm getting kind of shot by lightning every, however long. And
Yeah.
he said, go get a blood test. I'm like, okay, fine, did it. This dude calls me at 6 in the morning. It's like, go to the hospital. I'm like, can I put pants on first? Like, is that
Yeah.
okay?
Wow.
And he was like, yeah, your levels are nuts. I'm like, okay. So I go there. I sit there for 6 hours. They're just doing random tests of X, Y, and Z and yada, yada, yada. My A1C was like 11.
Holy shit.
And,
Oh my
oh,
God.
yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it gets better. My triglycerides were like 3,000.
Oh my God. You were in danger, man.
Oh, yeah, they're like, dude,
3,000.
you're about to have a stroke. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're about to have a stroke. But I felt what I thought was fine.
Yeah,
I was
right.
so used to it that just the being lethargic thing, I was like, maybe I'm just getting older, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
No, that was a part of it. So fast forward 3 years, I tried to do the oral medicine and do it myself, and that
Yeah.
didn't go that went as well as it usually should go. So the practitioner was basically saying, "Hey, look, fella, here's what we're gonna do, because you're still hovering high, you're not coming down. So here's what's gonna happen. If you keep going, I promise you, I swear to whatever deity you believe in, you're gonna be in dialysis." And not for nothing, me and the wife, not to get all dark here, but the wife used to do dialysis stuff for her patients. And we had a discussion. I'm like, I'm allowed to swear, right? We're okay
Yeah,
there?
absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. The wife was pretty much, or I told her, like, hey, yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm not,
Right.
I don't want to, that's an existence. If I ever get to the point where I'm existing and not living, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So instead of
Yeah.
me dying in 5 years, I would say, let's kind of do the insulin thing. So I'm doing that. And slowly coming down, and my body's getting acclimated to it, and I feel like shit a lot of the times because your body's trying to get back down to normal.
Right. Yeah.
And, but because your body's fighting against that, it's like, no, I like being high and feeling where I was in my okay spot.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
times.
It's so you're type 2 then, right? So now you take
Yeah.
insulin. You take insulin. Yeah. So, so we have a summer place in the Thousand Islands. And do you know where the Thousand Islands are in upstate New York?
I don't.
They're in the Lake Ontario dumps into it. It's the St. Lawrence River. It runs past Montreal, and there's an area that has 1,800 some islands in it. Some are small, some are. We had one handed down, so we're on an island out there. But there's two. You probably know. You probably take. My dad had insulin he took after a meal.
Yeah,
to bring
that's
it
what
down.
just got me on going. Yeah. Yep.
And then he had a 24-hour long lasting one.
Yep.
And so, and what happens quite frequently, we didn't know, and just so happened, my wife and I are on the island. My dad and mom are there, they stay there long term for the summer, and he reached, he took the wrong insulin. He took the meal one in the middle of the night.
Oh shit.
And so he went down to 40, his sugar level. And he was like, he was, I don't know, what was he at the time? He's probably 78 or something, but he was like, oh, I love you guys. I'm dying. Let it go. And oh man.
God.
So we had to fight him to the boat, had the ambulances waiting on the dock. And so, because we tried everything, we had a glucose tube. We tried to put some milk into him, and his level wasn't coming up at all, we thought. But really, by the time we got to the dock, we knew that his levels were coming up, because the EMTs put him in the ambulance, and the girl EMT says, "Oh, where does it hurt?" And he goes, "Oh, my cock." That's his sense of humor. So we knew he was coming back, right? But anyways, I got paranoid, man. So now I always want, I got to have at least 2 or 3 working vessels because, if an emergency happens like that. But I heard it's quite frequent. Like, I guess they try to change the people put stuff around the bottle so you don't take the wrong one by accident, You try to separate them, because you can reach like in the middle of the night and take that, the meal one instead of the long lasting. I don't know if that happened to him.
Yeah, I think it's all about whatever system you have. I mean, I'm kind of I have them in the fridge.
My dad did too. Yeah, so I don't know how that happened, but yeah,
they're different. They're different colors. Maybe you're just
yeah.
I it can happen. I mean, it can happen. I mean, you. The thing is, like, at least with mine, I have needles you have to put on it.
Yeah.
So you have time to kind of be cognizant of it. I don't know if his was kind of already pre-set up or what.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that. Yeah, unless he thought he was high when he went to bed. So I don't know why he did that, but he was pretty good at, I don't know, testing, and I don't know, he was really good at it. I mean, he lived to be 83 playing golf to the last week.
Nice.
So, you know what I mean? It was all good. But like you say, there's like, from that, there's a lot of other problems. He was all of a sudden kidneys. He might have to go on dialysis if he had survived. He had a heart attack. And so, they said, well, if you survive, out of here, you have to go on dialysis because your kidneys aren't working. But yeah.
Is he a big guy?
No, he ended up, I think when he first got it in his 50s, he was kind of a little bit heavy. He was still a cop at that point. But then, later when he was in control of it, he stayed pretty much like 175-ish, 170-ish, 5'10". Yeah. Mm. He maintained pretty good. He was pretty good with his meals, man. He was really good with it. He kind of knew.
That's all you can hope for. I tell people all the time, man, diabetes is more of a mental disease than an actual physical thing because you are fighting against yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Because food is fucking delicious. And
yes. Yeah. So I'm actually just completing it's called the Primal Healthcare Institute. It's by a guy named Mark Sisson. He's in his 70s, pretty jacked. But so I got into, 3 out of 5 of my cousins are diabetic. So I know I'm predisposed to it. Matter of fact, yeah. And so when I went to like
maybe you're the problem.
Yeah, I could be the problem. I went to a totally plant-based diet. I went vegan for a little while, for like a year. And all my numbers came down beautiful. Triglycerides went from 250 to 80. Cholesterol 250 down to 170. But you know what? My glucose was still 100, even though the doctor said, well, your A1C is 5, so you're okay. But that's still, I don't want to go in that direction. So now when I've had this training, I realize how important it is that all of these carbohydrates that I used to drink, I eat pasta up the ass. And so it was always being converted to glucose, which, promotes the insulin spike. And it's the chronic insulin in your blood that really causes you to be insulin resistant. And so now I'm learning how to kind of create insulin sensitivity so I don't go in that direction. So it's something no one had educated me on. So I'm kind of thinking if I do any health coaching, I want to focus on that because it's been close to me, people who are pre-diabetic, what they can do with a lifestyle to prevent that. Yeah. It means a lot to me just because I saw my dad.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's close to it. It got you on the heartstrings, so you're already preconditioned to the passion for.
Yeah.
And you yourself, you're like, yeah, man. I don't really. Apparently, you're some kind of weird common denominator with everyone else around you there for the diabetes, and
Yeah. So
let's help people out if you can.
Yeah. Because there's no doubt. And I like this guy's teachings because I've been in this course for over 6 months, man. It's pretty in depth. But, he's like, you are, by your genes, you're predisposed maybe to diabetes, but you're not predetermined. So you can have an effect on your environmental wise. Sure. You may be predisposed to this, but environmentally, you can affect how your genes are expressed. Right, Michael Phelps, the great, the great swimmer. His genes he was predisposed, right, to have those genetics for swimming, if he expressed those through training and diet. But if he just laid on the couch all day, he wouldn't have been a great swimmer. So we do have some say in it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's a beautiful statement. I mean, that can traverse over the universe here. I mean, you talk about, people that grow up in really, really bad neighborhoods or bad, parental situations. Yeah, I mean, that was your foundation, that was your surroundings, but it is not a predetermined path that needs to, go, that you don't need to go down that quote unquote
that's right.
path. You have the opportunity to kind of pivot and, do what you want to do with it. But
do you have a pretty good system now? How you eat and take, and what do you got it dialed in pretty good, or how long have you been doing this? You said 3 years, or
I think I've known for like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure I had it for a while, honestly. But yeah. I mean, I literally just started the mealtime insulin yesterday. So,
okay. Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
So you'll get it dialed in,
Yeah, I mean, I have I try to stay cognizant of when I do the long acting, when I do that around 10 o'clock at night. I try to eat generally at the same time every day. I try not to eat after 8 o'clock. Just staying in a rhythm, I think, is one of the harder parts. Hence why it's a mental thing than a physical thing. Because you showed no willpower earlier in life, now you need to have willpower and you need to hold yourself accountable, because there's a lot of people, man. They're like, oh, well, I mean, it was passed on. No, bullshit. That could be in your proverbial genes, but you're sitting here snorting Mountain Dew and shit. Like,
oh yeah,
that's not gonna fucking help you.
No.
So,
and I used to do that too, man.
Be an adult.
Yeah. You must have had this too, right? So I have an association with, or, I have to have this combination. So at the time, this is like, so it's been 10, I haven't had a real, like a soda in probably 8 years. And so, but if I had pizza, no, I have to have Coke with pizza, what I mean? So that has to be, there can't be. And then when I used to go to, Panda, right? I used to have the orange chicken. Well, I got to have a Mountain Dew with that. You know what I mean? So I had to get away from that. So now I don't have pizza very often. But it can't be all or nothing, or no one can ever stick to that, because it can't be.
That's what I tried.
Yeah,
that's what I tried. Like my journey has been such a fucking weird roller coaster. I when I first found out, I was like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stay staunch, and it's like, dude, that doesn't work.
Doesn't work. It's not sustainable.
Everything. No, it's not, because then you become miserable, and you become woe is me. You become sad. Like, it's a whole mental thing. I failed at that. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna allow myself certain things, occasionally. That didn't work, because then I fell into the pitfall of, well, now I'm just back into this weird routine. So that fell apart. So I'm kind of doing a hybrid thing where certain things I'm like, yeah, you fuck off. But if we're doing pasta, put that in my face, so I'm going to be a happy guy, and that'll just be, the carbs, and so be it.
Yeah.
So I'll allocate myself, depending on what we're doing for dinner, I'll allocate myself my carb intake at dinner time. If I'm, me personally, I could literally live off chicken and veggies every day. I would be perfectly okay with that. But not sustainable.
Right.
So it's all about finding what works for you and what your body reacts to and what your numbers react to, and finding a happy medium. It is a hard thing.
It's funny, because traditional wisdom, and this guy is like, it's kind of a paleo thing. So he's like, no, you can get fat adapted. So you should, because traditional wisdom is stay away from the fats in this, but no, and then now they're learning, no, we need to be having butter, not margarine. And so, the fats, and then, with you, and the fats are not going to they're not going to be raising your sugar levels crazy. So you can eat fat. You can have avocados. Right. You can have all these things, man. So that's good. But you're gonna get into a good routine. That's good. But I'm really I'm focusing on myself now, just being to, let's prevent this if we can through lifestyle.
Right.
I call it lifestyle because, are you on that diet? No, I'm not on a diet. I'm on. Listen, if you can do something 80% for the rest of your life, do it. What's 100% if you only can do it 90 days? Forget it. So, I'm not going that way. So, so I'm like you. I just kind of a hybrid type thing. If I have a pizza, I'm doing it on purpose. It's not like I've gone off something. And today I'm choosing to have it. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll only have 2-3 slices, but today I'm having pizza. And then I'm learning. People say, "Oh, yeah, you have this. You're gonna have this. You're gonna have a spike of insulin." And yeah, but what I'm learning is, well, the spike is not that bad. It's the chronic presence of insulin over the whole day.
There you go.
That's causing the trouble. And that spike is okay because your body's working. It's always working to bring you into what they call it homeostasis, right? I got to bring you. It's always trying to keep you alive right now, regardless of what the future is going to be. It might be bad for you, but right now the body says, I got to keep you level. So it's good to understand these things. Yeah.
And you know what? Look, we're all human, right? And,
yeah.
And you're right. That one day spike is not going to send you into a tailspin.
Right.
You know what that can be? That can be a quote unquote reward for yourself for doing well for 2 weeks straight. You're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go fucking get some Domino's.
Yeah.
Get a little small pizza, share it with the wife or whatever. I'm going to hammer out 3 pieces here. That's a shit ton of carbs. But you know what? I've been staying staunch to what I've been trying to do. I deserve it, because you're living with diabetes, right? You're living with it.
Yeah.
If you're just eliminating all of the joys you have in your life, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're biding your time till your kidneys fail. Congratulations. I mean, you go.
Yeah. And I like, there's an analogy which it makes sense to me. I get a visual if you get this visual. So I didn't even realize that the body did this. If you're too low carbohydrate for long enough, your liver actually produces, that's what ketogenic is, right? It produces ketones, and your body switches to burning fat, which was the Atkins. But of course, they were eating bad fats. But so now your body really thrives on eating or on, living off of ketones and fat. And that burns like a good fire. If you got a good burning fire, that burns clean. There's nothing in the air, as opposed to carbohydrates. They burn quick and they burn, but it's almost like cardboard. There's a lot of crap, free radicals in the air. So, but when you have that big fire going, no matter what you put into it, it'll burn that shit. So that's like if you get fat adapted and you're burning fat and ketones, then when you do have a carbohydrate meal, it burns it pretty efficiently. And so now you can have a carbohydrate meal. It's just you're not on that teeter-totter carbs, up and down, right? Because as soon as the carbs go, then your glucose is low. Then your body, I need glucose.
It can't be good for you. They can't be good for you.
No, that's
your
right.
Your body is not meant to be a teeter-totter like it needs to.
No.
It can pivot a little bit, but it doesn't need to be.
It's always going to be like this. It's meant. I mean, it's got to be. You don't want it like this all the time, but it's going to be like this. Yeah. So that's interesting. And so, are you like? You seem like you're probably like me. Are you like immersed into learning more about it and how to do it or how to manage yourself?
No, fuck that. No, I'm not.
How about your wife? Is she in your ear about stuff? Because she probably knows, or does she know? Sometimes the medical field doesn't know too much about it. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. The wife is a fucking encyclopedia. It's annoying.
Yeah.
So we have a bit of an well, I wouldn't say an understanding. She keeps me level, but she's not hammering in my ear about all these things because I don't want to hear it. And it's not because I don't want to learn about it. It's just like, I fucking know I got this, man. Like, well, you can do this, and you can. I'm like, I fucking get that. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna eat the sugar. All right. Yeah. We're not gonna eat pasta every fucking day.
No, that's right.
And I'm gonna stay away from donuts because they're fucking delicious.
Absolutely.
Look, I do the sugar-free monster every. Well, you can't see, but I do the sugar-free monster every day, and that's my coffee. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
It's just, I understand what I've put in my body and what I'm putting in my body.
You're making your choices now. You're making your choices.
Yeah. Right. And if you don't at this point, you're a fucking idiot.
That's right.
You're 5 years. I'm 37 or 8. I don't fucking. I really don't even know anymore. I think I'm 30. Yeah, I'll be 38 soon. Yeah, I had to think about that. That's where I'm at. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm past. I'm past the important birthdays. I'm just waiting to die now.
Yeah. Hey, don't say that.
but
Yeah. That means I'm already dead.
hey, you said it, not me, Bubba.
Yeah.
But I, you're aware of what is in what you're eating, right? And you're aware of what it is doing. And if you're not, get a little expertise on it, fine.
Yeah.
But,
That's right.
It has nutritional facts. It has carbs. It has fats. It has sugars. Carbs and sugars is basically what you need to hone in on.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Those are kind of the same things. Yeah.
And it's moderation. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. You can have these things in moderation. You don't need to cut yourself off. Just you don't eat pizza every day. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
I don't know. The shit's not hard, but it's that mental part of it where you're like, but I want it. You can't have it. Fuck you. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my uncle was a guy. He was a great guy, but he died, I think, 67. He was the kind of guy like, man, my aunt, your blood sugar is 600. Should you really be having that donut?
Jesus Christ.
Without saying a word, he'd go downtown, come back with a dozen, line them all up, just eat all dozen. I mean, that's just. No, yeah, the guy basically killed himself, right? He's like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I got that attitude, just like, because I guess I want to make sure I don't have that attitude. I could see myself going that way years ago.
It's hard because you almost try to rebel against it. You're like,
yeah.
I already have it. What else can I do? It's like, oh no, you can do much worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can do much worse. Yeah. Yeah, well, you got all these guys. I mean, there's not only limitations to be on yourself. You got these high-performing athletes with diabetes are just performing unbelievable feats of strength and competition, but they're in control of their choices, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not dictated. Their life isn't dictated by having diabetes because it's controlled. Someone that has uncontrolled diabetes. Yeah, your life is kind of dictated to that because it's not controlled. Once you get it controlled, then you can live a quote unquote more normal-esque life. You don't have to. But generally speaking, you put yourself in the situation. At this point, you racked up credit card debt, and now the creditor's like, "Hey, fucking pay us our money." And you're like, "Well, okay." And this is you paying your money back, and eventually you'll pay that debt. As long as you're staunch in your convictions, and you'll be okay. I don't know. I'm a big analogy guy, so.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Yeah. Hey, so your show, where can people find your show? It's what's it? I'm going to put the links in all my descriptions here.
Yeah. So I actually just changed the handle today. So,
okay.
Because so it's this X and O of Life pod.
Oh, it was X's and O's, right? Or.
Yeah, it was. So the podcast name is the X's and O's of Life. So the YouTube handle, that's all I put it on. I mean, you can either do that or look up Rich Dow because I'm the first name that comes up. So, same thing on Twitter. I don't really do anything else but those two. But I only do the video and I stopped just the audio only because nobody was listening.
Yeah. Hey, so you had a guy on last night, man. You had a Mafia guy on there, man. That was interesting. How did you come across getting that guy?
Same place I found you, behind the dumpster.
Oh, okay.
Behind the
dumpster, yeah.
No, it was
a strip club.
Man.
Was it a strip club? Yeah.
I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly, that's right. Yeah. I call it a dance studio. Yeah.
Yeah. We keep that on the hush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found him on Podmatch, and his name is Aiden, and connected guy. No bullshit there. Voice modulator.
It was really clear though that for a voice modulator, that was pretty good.
It took me a little bit to get it because at first it came in. I'm like, hey, can you get the marbles out of your mouth there? Because I can't fucking hear what you're saying. And then I had to get accustomed to the gruffness of it. It latched on, but very.
I could understand him perfectly. Yeah, so Yeah, your audio was really good on that, man. Yeah, he was. From what I know of the Mafia, I mean, I say it's legitimate, man. That guy was the real deal. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a part at the end, and I won't spoil it because cliffhanger.
Yeah. Everybody should
Go
check that
listen
out
to it.
because Aiden.
Wink,
Yeah.
wink, wink.
Yeah.
Um, there's a part at the end where it's like, oh yeah, this guy, yeah, this guy does this. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't cross this guy. Yeah, I will tell you this. The one great thing I've learned from it, it feels very, very respectful. There is a hierarchy. A lot of the movies that you see kind of hit on things that are, yeah, close enough, but obviously there's that romanticized part of it from Hollywood when you see movies and Sopranos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's a bad man, and unfortunately he is stricken with a really shitty disease now. But
he was talking about that. Yeah.
He kind of found the humor in it. He said, "Hey, well, fucking paying the piper here," and it's like, yeah, well, fair enough. But I would say it was deep. It was deep. It wasn't anyone that's listening to my stuff. It's not silly, jokey, yada yada yada.
No. Yeah, that's right. Street stuff. Yeah. I like the respect part because I noticed that it was the same in the jail in Los Angeles. You see, that was kind of there's no. When I first got in the 80s, there was actually cigarettes and people bartered, with cigarettes and stuff. But after they took the cigarettes away and everything, it all came down. The only thing that was had value was respect, man. If you disrespected somebody,
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, well, you and I talked about that. Yeah.
And
it was the same between the deputies and the prisoners too, man. So, yeah, wow.
At the end of the day, man, that's the currency. I mean, you smoke a cigarette, that's gone in 3 minutes. You get respect. That shit can last a lifetime. Man.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was kind of weird. It was funny when I first went in the LA, the main jail. It was just weird that there were guys. They were facing murder charges that were the trustees. These are the guys out there helping out the deputies and stuff. So, you had to be careful what you said because these guys would, they were kind of, they had a little bit of rapport with you, right? So. If you were like disgruntled with one of the inmates or something, that trustee might say, "Do you want us to handle that?" No, don't want you to handle that, because they would, It's just so. I think eventually they got away from having people facing murder as trustees, just because they had nothing to lose, and when you have nothing to lose, you have a lot of freedom within the system.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
There's a saying. It's like, you don't. Pretty much you don't mess with someone that doesn't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
Really, they're playing with house money. They don't give a shit. It's like, well, literally it's Rambo, what is it? Or not Rambo. It's Rocky Rocky 4. If he dies, he dies. It's kind of that's the approach on it, so
I remember they sent me when I was a sergeant. I went back to the jail as a sergeant. And so you almost get punished when you get promoted in the LA Sheriff's Department. You have to start over again as far as you got to go back to custody and then work your way out. And so that's why a lot of people, I'm never going to promote because I'm not going back to that hellhole jail. And so
why is that?
It's just because, when you get promoted to sergeant, then, the people that are a sergeant inside the jails, they got to have a way to, it's all movement oriented. So you got to go in so they can go out. So it's like when you're in, you're waiting for other people to be promoted so that they can come in, you can go out. And so it's kind of an in-out thing. So yeah, but I remember they
think that you paid your dues. Though I mean, I get it, but it's just kind of like, what the hell's the point of paying the dues? Now I get it. It's like, I'm not promoting. There's no point to do it.
Yeah, if they had, and I think that for a while they went to if you hired separately for the jail and then for patrol, then you could do that. But when it's all within the same system, new deputies have to go to jail. We talked about that, and then they come out. And so new sergeants, they send them into the jail because where else are you going to get them from? Because they don't promote within, the jail. So you didn't have a choice of staying within the jail framework. Although they did go to that system, they might still be there. But I know they sent me down to do a sergeant's escort to the buses on a guy that was, facing the death penalty, And so I think, oh man, this guy, he's probably going to give me a hard time or something because what does he have to lose, He was just very respectful. He even talked to me on the way. Oh, did the Lakers win last night? And just like, I don't know, maybe he just resolved himself. This is the way it is. I don't know. And it was like a calmness about him. Yeah.
I think everyone responds to that differently because you can be really bitter or you can just come, have your come to Jesus meeting. It's like,
yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, look, there's no reason to be bitter and crazy right now. Like I'm literally going to go meet my maker here, so
yeah. What do you think about the guys? These a lot of the guys find Jesus a religion in the jail, and I to me, I think it's because they're, man, I think because they're so detached from outside input. I think they actually can hear God talking to them. I don't know. I don't see anybody. I never saw anybody going to Satan. I saw a lot of people going to God, though. Do you have any opinion on that?
So, it could be a few different things, right? It could be the ideology of like, if they are religious or not religious. I mean, just looking, you don't have anything else to do, so you got to figure out something. Maybe it's a way for them to feel like they can absolve themselves of their sins and come right come right with Jesus. Say, hey, look, can we maybe sweep this thing under the rug if we kind of start chatting? Or maybe some people really do have that time to reflect, and the prison system actually does what it's meant to do, and help fix people that are maybe not on the right wavelength of the mind, and they say, yeah, look, I lived a really negative life. Now I have a chance to reflect. I mean, let's put it this way: my favorite place in the world is the shower because everything is quiet. And
that's right. Yeah.
And there's nothing else around me.
Yeah.
I'm obviously there's things in jail to get your attention, but you're all by yourself, and you have you have too much time to think and be by yourself. So maybe what else are you gonna do? Have a conversation and see if you can figure out where you fucked up at. So I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, because you know what? All of a sudden they're under like a moral code of wanting to do the right thing. So it's definitely something to be supported, and I'm glad really that happens. It makes our life as working in the jail a lot easier.
I was gonna say, you're like, well, I mean, you can't be mad at it. I mean, you almost kind of wish other people would take their advice, and you hear and see the things that are going crazy, prison riots and people losing their shit, and beating the hell out of people, and it's like, or you could just make your experience as nice as it can be in jail, instead of living this rough-edged life where you gotta look over your shoulder. It's like, come on, man, what are you doing?
Yeah. There's so do you know another reason why you feel good in the shower? Have you heard of negative ions?
No. What is that?
It's a molecule that has an extra it's like a cell or a molecule has an extra, it creates a negative charge, and so it makes you feel good, and it kind of cleans out free radicals in your system, and it's you get that when you're around water. And so when you're around water,
really?
And also you get it, I didn't realize, I did a whole podcast on this. You also get it if you're in the woods, and a lot of people, they call it earthing.
Interesting.
If you go bare feet. But that's one of the reasons why sometimes, I'm just going to take a shower, I'll feel better. One of the reasons you feel better is because the crashing water creates these negative ions, and when you're around it, it creates a feeling of well-being. It's very healthy. So that's one of the reasons why we like to be around water, and that's one of the reasons why even just taking a shower will make you feel better. So, yeah, it's a whole thing. So, but I found you actually can get it through walking barefoot or being in the woods. Yeah.
Look at that. This whole time I thought you were an idiot. Look at that.
No. I just look like that. No. And then, you know what, the other way is when you're in an office, like in a cubicle, and you're around like false lighting and whatever, it's actually the opposite. There's like you're missing, and so it creates, and so that's a way to counteract that. Is just like, that's why I'm going to take a walk on the beach. For some reason I feel better. That's the reason why. But yeah, I did a whole thing on it. So yeah, so that's why probably when you're in the shower, you shut out a lot of the noise. Plus, you're getting negative ions, buddy.
That's beautiful, man. That is actually insanely enlightening. So what if you're even if you're by a body of water, if you're at the beach, is that is that one of the allures as well, because it gives you that peaceful, serene, you hear the waves crash. And
Yeah.
Interesting.
Part of that, but it's really in the air. So the act, like the waves crashing, it creates in the air those negative ions that you're breathing actually in. So, matter of fact, if you Google, I think you can actually create it where there's ion machines or whatever, but you just do it by being out in nature. And I didn't know this, but I was talking to a guy about it. He goes, "Oh yeah, that's what Earthers do," and I didn't know what that was. But in other words, they get bare feet. On the sand helps you. Like you're getting in touch with the Earth creates this also.
Right. Yeah, so, you eliminate that. You eliminate that buffer of feet. Now, obviously, with diabetes, you're not really doing that because you can't really get your feet cut up. But I get it. Wow.
Yeah, so check it out. Just Google it because I want to go. Why do we always want to be around? I was thinking, well, maybe because our body's 70% water. Yeah,
I'm not Googling. I'm going to watch your episode. Fuck Googling.
Yeah, exactly.
I want the expert here.
I like the way you think. Yeah.
There you go. That's wild.
So, hey, how many interviews are you doing? How many do you have a schedule, or how do you do it?
So, I get notifications from Podmatch occasionally, but I usually just pop on there 2-3 times a day, and I'll look at people's profiles and I'll message them if I find them interesting. I think I have like maybe 35, 36.
Yeah, you've done a lot, man. Yeah, that's why you're good at it.
I dig it, man. I love it so much, and I've met so many cool people. And
yeah,
I don't know if I told you this. I had someone I interviewed. They actually humanized pedophiles for me.
Oh my God! Wow.
And it was a complete mindfuck. Because I'm like, I didn't know you could actually humanize those people. But
yeah,
basically, she came back and said, like, look, majority of these people hate who they are. They hate it.
Yeah,
they hate that they have this addiction,
right?
And they want to die. They want to kill themselves. They want to do all these terrible things to themselves because they aren't in, I guess, control, for lack of a better term.
Right,
I mean, it's still like you're a terrible fucking person because what you do and what you like, but being able to actually look at them as humans instead of just these monstrosities, I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I don't know how to feel about that, but wow.
Yeah. Well, it's good that that's why it's just hard. You got to have a dialogue about things. That's how you learn things. And people so why did you change the name of your show? I'll tell you why I'm interested in that, but yeah.
Well, so because when we first started, I had the X's and O's of life.
Yeah.
Then I had another one. It was BDE Street. And then I have my football one. Then the BDE Street fell apart because we realized it was basically the same thing as the X's and O's except with cussing. And we're like, well, there's no kids watching, so that's dumb. Let's just do that one. So I combined the name, and then I looked at it today, and I'm like, let's just make this, let's brand this exactly what it is. And there you go.
So do you still have more than one show?
Yeah, I technically have 3. I have the X's and O's of life, which is the same one that I always do. Then I have the interview edition, which I uploaded at the same place, and then I have one that's for fantasy football during the football year. So
okay, cool. So that's your niche down. That's just for fantasy football. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that audience is going to be totally different than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and now that I'm strictly doing YouTube, I need to actually go into the YouTube thing and separate everything into different tiers because, like I said, for a long time I was doing both. So I just kind of was a bit of a cluster. Well,
I like that YouTube they've embraced podcasting, and now you have a separate playlist for the podcast, which I like because I do other videos too, and so I can separate that and play. I ask you this because my theme, and it's what I've been studying for the last 30 years is motivation, self-improvement, personal growth. But man, I'm really drawn into what's going on in the world today, cultural events and news, and so do I just do that, or do I have a separate channel for that? Do I separate my efforts, or I don't know, I'm. So I almost want to do some commentary on what's going on today, but that really wouldn't be in the same theme, or should I just be the renaissance of having, what's your advice on that?
The beautiful thing about what you can do is you can do whatever you want to do and then separate it later if you want. If
almost
you
like
get
testing
negative,
it out, or just keep testing
right.
it.
Yeah. Look, the biggest reasons I made changes on my podcast is because the wife was like, "This is fucking dumb." I'm like, "Shut up, stupid."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
No, you're right. It's pretty dumb. And I got feedback from other people, and it was like, "Yeah, you should maybe do this." And I figured, hey, this is a good idea. So I would, if I were you, I would put it all in the same channel. And if you start seeing views go down, you start getting negative feedback, then maybe then
separate
it
separate
into
those
its own
things.
feed, because you don't want to ostracize yourself in by any stretch, but give people the option like that. That's how I feel. Don't make it harder for yourself.
Yeah, maybe if I was doing the commentary on what's going on, maybe I would do that with maybe I would make that a live hour I do or something based on what's happening. And then this could still be, because this could be evergreen, right? Self-improvement, personal growth. What's nice about it, it's evergreen. People can go back. You can go back and check the negative ion one, or somebody might be interested in that. So, that'll promote views for past episodes, where kind of a current event thing is going to be kind of now, and then it's going to drop off because it's not happening anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like a quick hitter. You maybe you do a current event, maybe you just do it under a reel. You do a little, promo of it and bring people in and see where it goes. But I mean, I would say put it on the main feed, and if it actually starts to grow, then I would maybe put it under its own little separate thing. If it doesn't grow, then just let it be intermingled in your regular feed, and so be it. That's the beautiful thing about what we do.
Yeah. We have the freedom to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Nothing's set in stone.
Yeah. That's what I love. I love it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that I really like that is on, have you ever heard of that guy? Pat Bet David, PBD?
No.
He's got he goes live every day for 2 hours, and he's got 3 people with him usually. He's had everybody on there. I don't care, Vivek Ramaswamy, everybody he's had on there. Interesting people that he's had on there. And he has kind of a guy that used to be really a liberal guy from Miami, a club owner. And then he has Vinny, a guy who's a comedian. Then he has Tom, who's like a financial guy. So I learn a lot about stuff. But he actually has another channel called Valuetainment. It's kind of business oriented. And so he'll do like a 4-minute thing on this is what's going on. Okay, JetBlue wanted to buy Sprint. Guess what? The government came in and said, you can't because of antitrust laws. This is what's going to happen. Frontier tried to buy them. You know what's happened? They were, he'll show, he's a big numbers guy. He'll show the graph. They lost $2.6 billion last year. This is what's going to happen in the future. And this is why we want to have them around. We want to have a discount, Anyways, he does, and he has like 5 million on that channel. And then the PBD, he's like 1.6, but it's still pretty popular. So he does have 2 brands. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is kind of how the new generation gets their news. They find somebody that interests them, that entertains them, that intrigues them. All those fun things. They're not going to sit there and watch, ABC for the news. They're going to go to their trusted quote unquote source and get the entertainment value plus the news and things that interest them.
Yeah,
that's when you strike gold. If you have that charisma and that personality, and you have a trusting audience,
that's right. Yeah,
then you fucking made it, man.
Yeah,
that's what I would love to do. I would love to do this for a living.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm the same way. This was like I was meant to do this right from the beginning. I don't know if I told you when I was first. I don't know if I told you the story, but so in high school, I wanted, because all my friends were, I had friends. I had the druggies, I had the jocks, and I had everybody at the geeks. I get maybe because my dad was the chief of police. I tried to make friends with each group, but I wanted to be playing football. I wanted to be playing basketball, and I couldn't get on these teams. I just was too frail, and man, I was really depressed about it, man. But then, there was always that thing with microphones when I was a kid, maybe because my dad had tape recorders. I don't know. But anyways, when I didn't make the basketball team, then the coach says, hey, well, do you want to call our games? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
love
I
to
remember
call
you
your
telling me
games.
that,
Yeah, and they put the microphone for me between the stands, and so really I got into it. And I told you, the comedy thing, I did some live radio with my headline, and I thought, man, this is what I love. That's why I think I'm going to get into the live. Tell me about the live experience. Are you enjoying that? Because I know you just recently started doing that.
Yeah, I mean it's the exact same kind of process. I think it's really garnering an audience, and that's the hard part. But I will say the one thing that I did, the actual big change I made. Um, my co-host schedule is god awful,
Yeah,
and we were having to do it at 10:30 at night on a Wednesday, and I'm like,
yeah,
who is coming in at 10:30 at night on a Wednesday?
right.
So I said no. Here's what we're gonna do. Sundays at 7. That's when we're doing it. Um, at least until football. When football starts, we got to pivot and change it to a different time.
Yeah,
But because we have the obligation to do 2 football shows a week as well when that starts. So we can't do that on Sunday because 1, I'm watching football, and 2, no one's going to pay attention when football's on. So at least on the off season, we're doing it Sundays at 7. And I'm just hoping to get people in there because what I love.
I'll check it out, man. Yeah,
I want people to pop in and interact. And what I'm trying to do, unfortunately, because I'm in my first year of doing this, so
Yeah.
I'm actually coming up on my first year in like 2 weeks, which is mind blowing. And for the first half of the year, we weren't doing YouTube, so we just are like 6 months in. So
yeah,
unfortunately, on YouTube, you need about 50 subscribers to be able to stream exclusively on YouTube, and I like their interface, so I'm working
Yeah.
to kind of get that up there, but. I think now that we've made ourselves more accessible from a time standpoint, I think
Yeah.
that could garner an audience. But yeah, I suggest anyone that does this stuff, do it that way.
yeah,
It just makes so much more sense.
yeah. You're right. I agree. I'm gonna start getting into the live, man, because I like that.
Do it.
Juices me up.
You know why? Because you can try it, and if you don't like it, it can fuck on off.
That's right. We have choices, everybody. If you're going to be in America, why not use the choices we have available? Hey, any last thoughts on what you got coming up? And I'll let you go, brother. But I really appreciate this time with you, and I'm going to send people to your show because you have some great guests on, and you know what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Not really. Not a big last words thing. I've never been good at ending a conversation.
That's okay. I know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just say, look, I appreciate the time. Anyone that wants to check out the channel, it's the X's and O's of Life pod on YouTube. I'm on Twitter under the same handle. Check us out on Sundays.
Yeah.
And whenever I don't live stream the interviews, but yeah, I just appreciate any support, any subs that want to jump on there. That's great. If you don't want to, hey, no hard feelings. It's not for everybody, but yeah,
How about,
I just like to have a good time.
Are the Pittsburgh Steelers your team or no?
Yeah. I'm mostly fantasy football based, but the Steelers are a goddamn dumpster fire right now. So it's.
I used to be a big fan in the 70s, man.
Oh, when they were good, yeah. Well,
do you remember? You know Rocky Blyer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I never was alive to see him play.
Damn it, I was. I saw him play all the time.
He does healthcare commercials now, by the way. Locally.
Oh, he's still alive. Yeah, there's a guy who went to Vietnam, got shot, and was able to work himself back into the NFL. I just love those stories, man. Rocky Blyer,
that's what those
man.
old baseball players used to do, man. The old baseball players used to be those folks too. It's like, I went to war for a few years, came back, and now I'm pitching in the majors. It's like, what?
Yeah. And then the bus, I at one time I had my PBA card. I did professional bowling once in a while, but the bus, he was a great bowler, man. He had 200 average. Yeah.
Listen. 2 interesting things about bowling. The wife is literally flying to Florida in a few days because there's like there's like a bowling with Disney people thing. So she's literally flying down there to do that. And also, here's the even crazier thing. I saw this yesterday, and I'm absolutely going to do it because I'm a fucking lunatic. Apparently, on the end of April in Pittsburgh, they're doing naked bowling. I'm like, count me in just because the shit show that's going to be.
That is going to be a shit show.
I am so excited, and I'm like, I told the wife she's coming.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't really know. I'm like, fuck you, you're coming.
You got to do a podcast on that, man. You got to,
Well, that may have to be an audio only. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Or you could
Yeah.
just, the thing is, just the title alone is going to that'll be clickbait, but it's a real thing. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it's being held by the Pittsburgh Naturalists.
Jeez, that's great.
They rented it. They rented the place out, and somehow or another, it's like 4 to 7 at the end of April, and it's like, I guess that's legal. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think it's funny you brought up bowling. It's like, I've got a bowling story.
That is a bowl. It gives new meaning to the fingertip grip. I just came up with that. Yeah.
they're calling it balls out bowling.
There you go. Oh my God. That's
what they named
it.
it.
Balls out bowling, man. That is the perfect name. God, whoever thought of that? Genius, man. Oh, wow. That is great. Hey, listen, brother, I'm going to let you go, and I will let you, I'm going to put all your links, and I'll just put the one in my YouTube description, and then on the podcast platforms, it'll be in the show notes. And hey, we're going to talk again, brother, and then hang around for our debrief. And you're awesome, man. So keep up the great work, brother. Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you, Cliff. Take it easy, buddy.
You got it. All right, everybody. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Be part of the family.